like that.
Hi, welcome back. It's story time. Oh, I look terrible. I always do. That's welcome to my life. It's the end of the day. It's been a long day. Every day's a long day. I'm busy. Okay, I have a lot of work to do. Don't judge. Welcome to the story corner. It is story time. Um, we're getting really close to finishing up Evelina, and then we're going to be starting Anna and Gables, which is exciting. That's going to be fun. And I'm kind of thinking we'll just go through all 8 books. And it's obviously a lot smaller book than this last one, so I think we could probably go through them if I read every night, every couple of weeks, we'll go through one. So that'll be fun. Now, before we get started, I like to ask just for fun, what did you have for dinner? Or what are you going to have for dinner? Just, ideas, cooking. I love to cook. I'm a cook. And I sell knives. I sell the best kitchen knives ever. So, that's kind of my thing. So I got some spaghetti squash, and then I made spaghetti sauce from scratch. And we had a tomato plant out on our deck, and we live in Florida, so we can grow tomatoes year round. But it's been kind of sad. It struggled with blight, so we just picked all the tomatoes off it and trimmed it really far down, and a lot of them were quite green. And then we just put them in the window to ripen. So I took a bunch of those tomatoes, and a lot of them were kind of green. So the sauce actually kind of had a orangey, little bit brownish hue because we were using red and green tomatoes plus peppers and onions and Anyway, but I roasted the spaghetti squash and then made this homemade spaghetti sauce, and then I made meatballs, and it was really good. And then I made salad to go with it, and the lettuce for some reason was really bitter, so the salad wasn't great, which is kind of unusual. But the spaghetti was amazing, so it was really good. Ah.
Okay, want some?
Anyway, so that was good.
Ibuprofen.
I might do. I might still do a little dessert or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a little parfaits or something.
Okay, there's ibuprofen in there.
If he doesn't want it, don't try to force it. Okay, and then I'm going to show off a few things I made because I can. Why not? I'll show off 2 sets of coffee cup earrings because I'm a huge coffee fan. So we'll start with these cute yellow ones right here. Super adorable. That's a real dried flower. So it's just kind of they're transparent, glassy looking. Oh my goodness, now they got tangled. Trying to show those off. Super, super cute little coffee cups. And then this is pink ones with also real flowers in them, little real dried flowers. This one's, you can see how super sparkly, really cute. The little heart in the middle. Oh, okay. Such a busy little guy. Okay, showing off my cute stuff. And all of that is available for sale. If anybody ever's like, oh my heck, I want that, you can have it. Unless somebody else gets it first. Okay, so Evelina, we're at chapter 18. Now, if you remember from yesterday, she went and met her father, and he's denied her all these years and been like, and then she finds out he had another daughter that he had claimed, and it turns out that there was a woman that they had hired to nurse and take care of Evelina after she was born because her mother died, so her mother couldn't take care of her. And the nurse heard him talking about the Mr. Villers had told Evelina's mother that he would take care of Evelina no matter what, whether her father would acknowledge her or not. And so this lady's thinking, well, here's this girl that has this rich father and this whole fortune that could be hers, and then another guy that's willing to take care of her whole life financially, and why can't my baby have that? So she just left and took her baby, because she had a baby that was 6 weeks older than Evelina. She took her baby to Evelina's father and said, this is your baby. I took her away from the Reverend Mr. Villers, and they don't know. And he took her in and accepted her and raised her as, well, he sent her away to a French convent, but he supported her, and all this for 16 or 17 or whatever it was years, he thought she was his daughter. And so it turns out that Mr. McCartney is Evelina's half brother, and he thought he had fallen in love with his own sister, but she's not related at all. She was a servant lady's daughter. So anyway, so the plot thickens. Okay, letter 28, Evelina in continuation. And my very noisy children in the background, but that's how life is at our house. So welcome to the, what's the word? The chaos. Welcome to the chaos. How agitated, my dear sir, is the present life of your Evelina. Every day seems important, and one event only a prelude to another. Mrs. Selwyn, upon her return this morning from the Hotwell, entering my room very abruptly, said, "Oh, my dear, I have terrible news for you." "For me, ma'am? Good heaven, what now?" "Arm yourself," cried she, "with all your Berry Hill philosophy. Con over every lesson of fortitude or resignation you have ever learned in your life. For know, you are next week to be married to Lord Orville." Doubt, astonishment, and a kind of perturbation I cannot describe made this abrupt communication alarm me extremely, and almost breathless I could only exclaim, "Good heaven, madam, what do you tell me?" "You may well be frightened, my dear," said she ironically, "for really there is something mighty terrific in becoming at once the wife of the man you adore and a countess." I entreated her to spare her raillery and to tell me her real meaning. She could not prevail with herself to grant the first request, though she readily complied with the second. My poor father, she said, was still in the utmost uneasiness. He entered. "Oh, no! What did you find?" She found her birthday outfit. It was supposed to be a surprise. What do you think?
I love it.
It's her birthday in a few weeks, and I bought her a little outfit, but I washed it, and it was in the laundry on the bed, not hidden away, and she found it.
I love it.
It's so cute, right?
I found my early birthday.
Well, that was actually just your birthday outfit, so that's what you were going to wear on your birthday. See?
I want that on too.
See?
I want
She's
that
the
on
unicorn
too.
girl, and then her bottoms have unicorns on them. You want it on right over the top of the one you're wearing? I told you it's kind of like the one you're wearing right now. Pink and white and pretty. Oh, that's really cute. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, my heck. That's adorable. Oops. I looked over there and saw the light in her eyes like, "Oh, what is this?" What? I love you, baby. Oh, what do you have? He's just got this intense look, and I look at him, and he's holding the ball, and he holds it up. What are you doing? You're silly. What a nut you are. Okay. Where are we? My poor father, she said, was still in the utmost uneasiness. He entered upon his affairs with great openness, and told her he was equally disturbed how to dispose either of the daughter he had discovered, or the daughter he was now to give up. The former he dreaded to trust himself with again beholding, and the latter he knew not how to shock with the intelligence of her disgrace. Poor girl, raised thinking she's, this wealthy heiress, and she's not. But I mean, he has affection for her, and he raised her, kind of, and was in contact with her as his daughter. So he's obviously not just going to throw her out, I'm sure, because, he cares about her, even though she's not really his daughter. That's so cute. Oh, nice necklace. And it fits. All her clothes are getting too little. Mrs. Selwyn then acquainted him with my situation in regard to Lord Orville. This delighted him extremely, and when he heard of his lordship's eagerness, he said he was himself of opinion the sooner the union took place the better, and in return he informed her of the affair of Mr. McCartney, and after a very long conversation, continued Mrs. Selwyn, we agreed that the most eligible scheme for all parties would be to have both the real and the fictitious daughter married without delay. Oh, look at all the hearts. Bias says that you look so good. He liked your outfit.
Yeah, it was my birthday outfit.
It's cute. It's
Even though it's
so
not my
hurt.
birthday yet.
Pink and unicorns and
It
rainbows.
wasn't my birthday yet.
It's almost, though, in a few weeks. What are you doing, baby? Now I lost my place. Therefore, if either of you have any inclination to pull caps for the title of Miss Belmont, you must do it with all speed, as next week will take from both of you all pretensions to it. Next week? What are you doing? Dear madam, what a strange plan! Without my being consulted, without applying to Mr. Villars, without even the concurrence of Lord Orville. Oh my goodness. Okay. She just likes kissing the camera, I guess. Oh, look, they're sending you lots of love. So many hearts. Aw, that's so cute. Okay, I'm reading. Don't be distracting. Okay. Don't be distracting. As to consulting you, my dear, it was all out of the question, because you know young ladies' hearts and hands are always to be given with reluctance. As to Mr. Villars, it is sufficient we know him for your friend, and as for Lord Orville, he is a party concerned. A party concerned? What?
I'm going to tell them something. Oh, it's that one too. Mama. Hey, don't tell much. Still
I already knew. Okay. Okay. Would you help him get down? A party concerned? You amaze me. Hi, baby. Is that your puppy? That's your puppy. Why, yes, for as soon as I found our consultation likely to rebound to his advantage, I persuaded Sir John to send for him. Send for him? Good heaven! Yes, and Sir John agreed. Are you going to make this difficult? Okay, don't be weird. I told the servant that if he could not hear of his lordship in the house, he might be pretty certain of encountering him in the arbour. Why do you colour, my dear? Well, he was with us in a moment. I introduced him to Sir John, and we proceeded to business. I am very, very sorry for it. Lord Orville must himself think this conduct strangely precipitate. No, my dear, you are mistaken. Lord Orville has too much good sense. Everything was then discussed in a rational manner. You are to be married privately, though not secretly, and then go to one of his lordship's country seats. And poor little Miss Green and your brother, who have no house of their own, must go to one of Sir John's. But why, my dear madam, why all this haste? Why may we not be allowed a little longer time? I could give you 1,000 reasons. Oh, you little helper. I could give you 1,000 reasons, answered she, but that I am tolerably certain 2 or 3 will be more than you can controvert, even with all the logic of genuine coquetry. In the first place, you doubtless wish to quit the house of Mrs. Beaumont, to whose then can you with such propriety remove as to Lord Orville's? Surely, madam, cried I am not more destitute now than when I thought myself an orphan. Your father, my dear, answered she, is willing to save the little impostor as much of the mortification of her disgrace as is in his power. Yeah, see, he wants to protect her. Now, if you immediately take her place, according to your right, as Miss Belmont, why not all that either of you can do for her will prevent her from being eternally stigmatized as the bantling of Dame Green, washwoman and wet nurse of Berry Hill, Dorsetshire. Now, such a genealogy will not be very flattering even to Mr. Macartney, who, all dismal as he is, you will find by no means wanting in pride and self-consequence. For the universe, interrupted I would not be accessory to the degradation you mention, but surely, madam, I may return to Berry Hill. By no means, said she, for though compassion may make us wish to save the poor girl the confusion of an immediate and public fall, yet justice demands you should appear henceforward as in no other light than that of Sir John Belmont's daughter. Besides, between friends, I, who know the world, can see that half this prodigious delicacy for the little usurper is the mere result of self-interest. For while her affairs are hushed up, Sir John's, you know, are kept from being brought further to light. Now the double marriage we have projected obviates all rational objections. Sir John will give you immediately £30,000, all settlements and so forth will be made for you in the name of Evelina Belmont. Mr. Macartney will at the same time take poor Polly Green, and yet at first it will only be generally known that a daughter of Sir John Belmont's is married. So that's how they'll take care of it. They'll just say, oh, Sir John Belmont's daughter got married, and then both the girls will get married, and then it'll kind of save the other girl from shame and ridicule and kind of protect Sir John's name too a little bit. In this manner, though she did not convince me, yet the quickness of her arguments silenced and perplexed me. I inquired, however, if I might not be permitted to again see my father, or whether I must regard myself as banished his presence forever. My dear, said she, he does not know you. He concludes that you have been brought up to detest him, and therefore he is rather prepared to dread than to love you. This answer made me very unhappy. I wished most impatiently to remove his prejudice, and endeavour by dutiful assiduity to engage his kindness, yet knew not how to propose seeing him while conscious he wished to avoid me. This evening, as soon as the company was engaged with cards, Lord Orville exerted his utmost eloquence to reconcile me to this hasty plan. But how was I startled when he told me that next Tuesday was the day appointed by my father to be the most important of my life. Next Tuesday, repeated I, quite out of breath. Oh, my lord! My sweet Evelina, said he, the day which will make me the happiest of mortals would probably appear awful to you, were it to be deferred a 12-month. Mrs. Selwyn has doubtless acquainted you with the many motives which, independent of my eagerness, require it to be speedy. Suffer, therefore, its acceleration, and generously complete my felicity, by endeavouring to suffer it without repugnance. Indeed, my lord, I would not wilfully raise objections, nor do I desire to appear insensible of the honour of your good opinion, but there is something in this plan, so very hasty, so unreasonably precipitate. Besides, I shall have no time to hear from Berry Hill, and believe me, my lord, I should be for ever miserable were I, in an affair so important, to act without the sanction of Mr. Villa's advice. He offered to wait on you himself, but I told him I had rather write to you, and then he proposed that instead of my immediately accompanying him to Lincolnshire, we should first pass a month at my native Berry Hill. This was indeed a grateful proposal to me, and I listened to it with undisguised pleasure. And, in short, I was obliged to consent to a compromise, in merely deferring the day till Thursday. He readily undertook to engage my father's concurrence in this little delay. That's sweet. So it gives her time to talk to Mr. Villers and not just get married without him, which is pretty important. The one thing is that he won't have time to be there, which is kind of sad, you know, because he loves her so much. He doesn't get to give her away. But they are going to go straight there after the wedding and stay with him for a month, which is so sweet of Lord Orville. This was indeed a grateful proposal to me, and I listened to it with undisguised pleasure. And in short, I was obliged to consent in a compromise, in merely deferring the day till Thursday. He readily undertook to engage my father's concurrence in this little delay, and I besought him at the same time to make use of his influence to obtain me a second interview, and to represent the deep concern I felt in being thus banished his sight. He would then have spoken of settlements, but I assured him I was almost ignorant even of the word. And now, my dear sir, what is your opinion of these hasty proceedings? Believe me, I half regret the simple facility with which I have suffered myself to be hurried into compliance, and should you start but the smallest objection, I will yet insist upon being allowed more time. I must now write a concise account of the state of my affairs to Howard Grove and to Madame Duval. Adieu, dearest and most honoured sir. Everything at present depends upon your single decision, to which, though I yield in trembling, I yield implicitly. Letter 19. Let's see how long it is. Oh, Caden, don't go. It's about to push the computer right off the... Oh, it's kind of long. Oh, well, What do you think, baby? Should we read one more? Mom, should we read one more? It's a couple of pages. No, as long as the one you just read. What? Mama. I love you. You're so silly. I don't know. Are you going to be sweet while I read one more chapter, huh? So we read one more. Okay, we'll try it. Letter 19, Evelina in continuation, October 11th, so this is 2 days later. Yesterday morning, as soon as breakfast was over, Lord Orville went to the Hotwells to wait upon my father with double petition. Mrs. Beaumont then, in general terms, proposed a walk in the garden. Mrs. Selwyn said she had letters to write, but Lady Louisa rose to accompany her. I had had some reason to imagine, from the notice with which her ladyship had honoured me during breakfast, that her brother had acquainted her with my present situation. So she's finally going to start being nice to her because she's finding out she's going to be her sister. And the behaviour now confirmed my conjecture, for when I would have gone upstairs, instead of suffering me as usual to pass disregarded, she called after me with affected surprise, "Miss Anville, don't you walk with us?" There seemed something so little-minded in this sudden change of conduct that, from an involuntary motion of contempt, I thanked her with a coldness like her own, and declined her offer. Yet, observing that she blushed extremely at my refusal, and recollecting that she was sister to Lord Orville, my indignation subsided, and upon Mrs. Beaumont's repeating the invitation, I accepted it. Our walk proved extremely dull. Mrs. Beaumont, who never says much, was more silent than usual. Lady Louisa strove in vain to lay aside the restraint and distance she has hitherto preserved, and as to me, I was too conscious of the circumstances to which I owed their attention to feel either pride or pleasure from receiving it. Lord Orville was not long absent. He joined us in the garden with a look of gaiety and good humour that revived us all. "You are just the party," said he, "I wish to see together. Will you, madame," taking my hand, "allow me the honour of introducing you by your real name to 2 of my nearest relations? Mrs. Beaumont, give me leave to present to you daughter of Sir John Belmont, a young lady who, I am sure, must long since have engaged your esteem and admiration, even though you were a stranger to her birth." "My lord," said Mrs. Beaumont, graciously saluting me, "the young lady's rank in life, your lordship's recommendation, or her own merit, would any one of them have been sufficient to have entitled her to my regard, and I hope she has always met with that respect in my house which is so much her due, though had I been made sooner acquainted with her family, I should doubtless have better known how to have secured it." "Miss Belmont," said Lord Orville, "can receive no lustre from family, whatever she may give to it." That's sweet. He's saying she can make the family name better, but the family name can't make her better. That's sweet. "Louisa, you will, I am sure, be happy to make yourself an interest in the friendship of Miss Belmont, whom I hope shortly," kissing my hand and joining it with her ladyship's, "to have the happiness of presenting to you by yet another name, and by the most endearing of all titles." I believe it would be difficult to say whose cheeks were at that moment of the deepest dye, Lady Louisa's or my own, for the conscious pride with which she has hitherto slighted me gave to her an embarrassment which equalled the confusion that an introduction so unexpected gave to me. She saluted me, or kissed her on the cheek. That's what that means. They didn't, they didn't salute. Back then, if you kiss someone on the cheek, that was considered a salute. However, and with a faint smile, said, "I shall esteem myself very happy to profit by the honour of Miss Belmont's acquaintance." I only curtsied, and we walked on, but it was evident from the little surprise they expressed that they had been already informed of the state of the affair. We were soon after joined by more company, and Lord Orville then in a low voice took an opportunity to tell me the success of his visit. In the first place, Thursday was agreed to, and in the second, my father he said, was much concerned to hear of my uneasiness, sent me his blessing, and complied with my request of seeing him. With the same readiness he should agree to any other I could make. Lord Orville therefore settled that I should wait upon him in the evening, and at his particular request, unaccompanied by Mrs. Selwyn. Pinky is a little agitated with her. This kind message and the prospect of so soon seeing him gave me sensations of mixed pleasure and pain, which wholly occupied my mind till the time of my going to the Hotwell. Mrs. Beaumont lent me her chariot, and Lord Orville absolutely insisted upon attending me. If you go alone, said he, Mrs. Selwyn will certainly be offended. But if you allow me to conduct you, though she may give the freest scope to her raillery, she cannot possibly be affronted, and we had much better suffer her laughter than provoke her satire. Indeed, I must own I had no reason to regret being so accompanied, for his conversation supported my spirits from drooping, and made the ride seem short, that we actually stopped at my father's door before I knew we had proceeded 10 yards. He handed me from the carriage and conducted me to the parlour, at the door of which I was met by Mr. Macartney. "Ah, my dear brother," cried I, "how happy I am to see you here!" He bowed and thanked me. Lord Orville, then holding out his hand, said, "Mr. Macartney, I hope we shall be better acquainted. I promise myself much pleasure from cultivating your friendship." "Your lordship does me but too much honour," answered Mr. Macartney. "But where," cried I, "is my sister? For so I must already call and always consider her. I am afraid she avoids me. You must endeavour, my dear brother, to prepossess her in my favour, and reconcile her to owning me." She's just so big, sweet. And she wants to be her friend and her sister. "Oh, madam," cried he, "you are all goodness and benevolence, but at present I hope you will excuse her, for I fear she has hardly fortitude sufficient to see you. In a short time, perhaps." "In a very short time, then," said Lord Orville. "I hope you will yourself introduce her, and that we shall have the pleasure of wishing you both joy. Allow me, my Evelina, to say we, and permit me in your name as well as my own to entreat that the first guest we shall have the happiness of receiving may be Mr. and Mrs. Macartney." Ah, he's so nice. Such a nice guy. A servant then came to beg I would walk upstairs. I besought Lord Orville to accompany me, but he feared the displeasure of Sir John, who had desired to see me alone. He led me, however, to the foot of the stairs, and made the kindest efforts to give me courage, but indeed he did not succeed, for the interview appeared to me in all its terrors, and left me no feeling but apprehension. That would be pretty scary, nerve-wracking, meeting your father for the second time after he freaked out the first time he saw you. The moment I reached the landing place, the drawing-room door was opened, and my father, with the voice of kindness, called out, "My child, is it you?" "Yes, sir," cried I, springing forward and kneeling at his feet. "It is your child, if you will own her." He knelt by my side, enfolding me in his arms. "Own me," repeated he. "Yes, my poor girl, and heaven knows with what bitter contrition." Then, raising both himself and me, he brought me into the drawing-room, shut the door, and took me to the window where, looking at me with great earnestness, "Poor, unhappy Caroline," cried he, and to my inexpressible concern he burst into tears. Need I tell you, my dear sir, how mine flowed at the sight? I would again have embraced his knees, but hurrying from me, he flung himself upon a sofa, and leaning his face on his arms, seemed for some time absorbed in bitterness of grief. I ventured not to interrupt a sorrow I so much respected, but waited in silence and at a distance till he recovered from his violence. But then it seemed in a moment to give way to a kind of frantic fury, for starting suddenly with a sternness which at once surprised and frightened me. "Child," cried he, "hast thou yet sufficiently humbled thy father? If thou hast, be contented with this proof of my weakness, and no longer force yourself into my presence." Thunderstruck by a command so unexpected, I stood still and speechless. I hope you can hear. He's so noisy. You're so noisy. Are you noisy? Yeah. Thunderstruck by a command so unexpected, I stood still and speechless, and doubted whether my own ears did not deceive me. "Oh, go, go!" cried he passionately. "In pity, in compassion, if thou valuest my senses, leave me, and forever." Wow. I will, cried I, greatly terrified, and I moved hastily towards the door, yet stopping when I reached it, and almost involuntarily dropping on my knees. "Vouchsafe," cried I, "oh, sir, vouchsafe but once to bless your daughter, and her sight shall never more offend you." "Alas," cried he in a softened voice, "I am not worthy to bless thee. I am not worthy to call thee daughter. I am not worthy that the fair light of heaven should visit my eyes. Good heaven, that I could but call back the time ere thou wast born, or else bury its resemblance in eternal oblivion." "Would to heaven," cried I, "that the sight of me were less terrible to you, that instead of irritating I could soothe your sorrows. Oh, sir, how faithfully would I then prove my duty, even at the hazard of my life." "Are you so kind?" cried he gently. "Come hither, child. Rise, Evelina. Alas, it is for me to kneel, not you. And I would kneel, I would crawl upon the earth, I would kiss the dust, could I, by such submission, obtain the forgiveness of the representative of the most injured of women." "Ah, I love you. Oh, you're so sweet." "Oh, sir," exclaimed I, "that you could but read my heart, that you could but see the filial tenderness and concern with which it overflows, you would not then talk thus. You would not then banish me your presence and exclude me from your affection." "Good heaven," cried he, "is it then possible that you do not hate me? Can the child of the wronged Caroline look at and not execrate me? Wast thou not born to abhor and bred to curse me? Did not thy mother bequeath thee her blessing on condition that thou shouldst detest and avoid me?" "Oh, no, no, no," cried I. "Think not so unkindly of her, nor so hardly of me." I then took from my pocketbook. He's so noisy. I love you. I love you. I then took from my pocketbook her last letter, and pressing it to my lips with a trembling hand and still upon my knees, I held it out to him. Hastily snatching it from me, "Great heaven," cried he, "'tis her writing. Whence comes this? Who gave it to you? Why had I it not sooner?" I made no answer. His vehemence intimidated me, and I ventured not to move from the suppliant posture in which I had put myself. He went from me to the window, where his eyes were for some time riveted upon the direction of the letter, though his hand shook so violently he could hardly help it. If you remember this letter, her mother, Caroline, wrote before Evelina was born to Sir John Belmont, and even she, kind of told him how awful what he had done to her was, but at the same time she said, if you claim my daughter and redeem my name, you have my forgiveness, but I'm going to die soon. I'm too young to recover. And so she offered her forgiveness to him before she died, if he acknowledged Evelina. So that's really sweet. Mama. Oh, you love Mama. You give him kisses and loves. I love you. What? Are you just so tired, huh? You ready to go to sleep? What are you doing? At length, turning to me, "Do you know," cried he, "its contents?" "No, sir," answered I. "It has never been unsealed." He then again went to the window and began reading. Having hastily run it over, he cast up his eyes with a look of desperation. The letter fell from his hand and exclaimed, "Yes, thou art sainted, thou art blessed, and I am cursed forever." He continued some time fixed in this melancholy position, after which, casting himself with violence upon the ground, "O wretch," cried he, "unworthy life and light, in what dungeon canst thou hide thy head?" I could restrain myself no longer. I rose and went to him. I did not dare speak, but with pity and concern unutterable I wept and hung over him. Soon after, starting up, he again seized the letter, exclaiming, "Acknowledge thee, Caroline. Yes, with my heart's best blood would I acknowledge thee. Oh, that thou couldst witness the agony of my soul. 10,000 daggers could not have wounded me like this letter." Then, after again reading it, "Evelina," he cried, "she charges me to receive thee. Wilt thou, in obedience to her will, own for thy father the destroyer of thy mother?" Oh, wow. What a dreadful question. I shuddered, but could not speak. "To clear her fame and receive her child," continued he, looking steadfastly at the letter, "are the conditions upon which she leaves me her forgiveness. Her fame I have already cleared, and oh, how willingly would I take her child to my bosom, fold her to my heart, call upon her to mitigate my anguish and pour the balm of comfort on my wounds, were I not conscious I deserve not to receive it, and that all my affliction is the result of my own guilt." It was in vain I attempted to speak. Horror and grief took from me all power of utterance. He then read aloud from the letter, "Look not like thy unfortunate mother. Sweet soul, with what bitterness of spirit hast thou written! Come hither, Evelina. Gracious heaven!" looking earnestly at me. Never was likeness more striking. The eye, the face, the form. Oh, my child, imagine. Oh, I messed up. "Oh, my child, imagine, sir, for I can never describe my feelings when I saw him sink upon his knees before me. Oh, dear resemblance of thy murdered mother! Oh, all that remains of the most injured of women, behold thy father at thy feet, bending thus lowly to implore you would not hate him. Oh, then, thou representative of my departed wife, speak to me in her name, and say that the remorse which tears my soul tortures me not in vain." "Oh, rise, rise, my beloved father!" cried I, attempting to assist him. "I cannot bear to see you thus. Reverse not the law of nature. Rise yourself and bless your kneeling daughter." "May heaven bless thee, my child," cried he, "for I dare not." He then rose, and embracing me most affectionately, added, I see that thou art all kindness, softness, and tenderness. I need not have feared thee. Thou art all the fondest thou art all the fondest father could wish, and I will try to frame my mind to less painful sensations at thy sight. Perhaps the time may come when I may know the comfort of such a daughter. At present I am only fit to be alone. Dreadful as are my reflections, they are merely to torment myself. Adieu, my child. Be not angry. I cannot stay with thee. Oh, Evelina, thy countenance is a dagger to my heart. Just so thy mother looked, just so. Tears and sighs seemed to choke him, and waving his hand he would have left me, but clinging to him, "Oh, sir," cried I, "will you so soon abandon me? Am I again an orphan? Oh, my dear, my long-lost father, leave me not, I beseech you. Take pity on your child, and rob her not of the parent she so fondly hoped would cherish her." "You know not what you ask," cried he. "The emotions which now rend my soul are more than my reason can endure. Suffer me then to leave you. Impute it not to unkindness, but think of me as well as thou canst. Lord Orville has behaved nobly. I believe he will make thee happy." Then again embracing me, "God bless thee, my Evelina. Endeavour to love, at least not to hate me, and to make me an interest in thy filial bosom by thinking of me as thy father." I could not speak. I kissed his hands on my knees, and then, with yet more emotion, he again blessed me and hurried out of the room, leaving me almost drowned in tears. Oh, sir, all goodness as you are, how much will you feel for your Evelina during a scene of such agitation? I pray heaven to accept the tribute of his remorse and restore him to tranquillity. When I was sufficiently composed to return to the parlour, I found Lord Orville waiting for me with the utmost anxiety, and then a new scene of emotion, though of a far different nature, awaited me, for I learned, by Mr. Macartney, that this noblest of men had insisted the so long supposed Miss Belmont should be considered indeed as my sister, and as the co-heiress of my father, though not in law. In justice, he says, she ought ever to be treated as the daughter of Sir John Belmont. That's sweet. That's really neat that he'll do that for her. Oh, Lord Orville, it shall be the sole study of my happy life to express better than by words the sense I have of your exalted benevolence and greatness of mind. Okay, well, he just went to sleep like a little sweetheart. He was so tired. He's not feeling good. Oh, I love you, babe. He's so tired. Oh, well, kind of. Oh, I love you. Anyway, I think there's only 2 or maybe 3 chapters, and they're not very long, so I'm guessing we'll finish that tomorrow. And then I have a show this weekend, but it doesn't go till real late, but it is kind of a long drive. So I'm not sure if I will be able to read Saturday and Sunday. But if not, we will start Anne of Green Gables on Monday. And if I'm up to it, we might start Saturday. So I'm excited about that one. Almost done with Evelina. You sweet baby. Oh, he's hot. Oh, he's teething. He's getting more teeth, my goodness. And he's been sick and fevered and grumpy. And I have so much work to do. And he just wants me to hold him all the time. Yeah, I love you. Anyway, oh wow, this was kind of a long one. Over 40 minutes. Okay. Well, I will let y'all go to bed. I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm excited to finish this one and start the next. And I'm excited to I'm kind of hoping. I've been so busy, but I actually kind of want to get to where I actually have some followers and kind of do like a group. I'm hoping, I started this just mostly wanting to connect with my children, but I realize that there's probably a lot of people who would actually enjoy just, reading together. So if I ever get a minute, I kind of want to post out even on Snapchat and stuff and say, hey, come join us, because that would be a lot of fun. I enjoy the feeling of family, camaraderie, conversation, with multiple people. So that would be fun. Anyway, that's what we're hoping to do. So we'll work on that eventually when I'm not so dang busy that I don't, that I have 10 extra minutes, which never happens, but Anyway, all right. We will let y'all go. Good night. Thanks for stopping by. We just enjoy story time at the Story Corner, and we'll see you next time.